passes all understanding, rest and abide with you all now and forevermore. Amen.
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 Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you, ma'am. Hi. With the court's indulgence, I would like to go ahead and do the proclamations so that then we can move into the public comments and the public hearing and then the public comments. So do we have any informational reports? No? Okay, we're going to start with a proclamation for Soil and Water Stewardship Conservation Week. So the Soil and Water Conservation Committee would like to come up here and receive this proclamation. Right. Come on out here. This way we can get the photos all done at one time. Hello, how are y'all? Hey, Beaver, long time no see.
Yes, ma'am. You doing all right today?
I'm doing just fine. Thanks for coming. No, I'm good, right here, perfect, this is fine. Whereas healthy soil and clean water is a benefit to everyone, and effective conservation practices provide the soil, water, animals, plants, and air that can ensure a rich standard of living, and our security depends upon the robust management of natural resource, and stewardship calls for each person to help conserve these precious resources. Therefore, we proclaim April 25th to May 6th as Texas Soil and Water Conservation Week. And we thank all of them for their volunteer work and for their assistance in helping us with our conservation efforts.
Thank
And we
you
want
for
to
the
thank,
recognition.
and we want to thank the court so much for helping to keep the Soil and Water Conservation District alive and well in Polk County and San Jacinto County. We do a lot of things through our organization. We're really trying to preserve our natural resources that we're losing them daily. And so we're trying to help preserve and teach, especially our young people, the necessity of holding on to our natural resources and taking care of them. We help with contests. We have a woodlands contest, a forestry contest, a land judging contest, and those FFA and 4-H members get to go on and go to regional and then to state. And so we've just had a contest, and so we've sent the first and second team on. And also, we have a Forester of the Year that we have nominated, and that is Michael Parrish. Michael Parrish from Leggett. And so we're so proud of him and his idea to work on the forest up there and take care of it. And so he'll be presented an award at the May meeting in Rusk. So we just appreciate your help and your encouragement because it's necessary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
And here you go, madam. Thank you. You're welcome to stay if you'd like to. Don't need to sit down. Okay, proclamation declaring April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. The 2026 Sexual Assault Awareness Month campaign marks a 25-year milestone with the theme 25 Years Stronger, Looking Back and Moving Forward, which is led by the National Sexual Violence Resource Center. And this campaign honors decades of progress in advocacy and survivor support while focusing on future prevention, safety, and accountability in those communities. Thank you. As we always say with this group, that they are at the forefront of protecting our women and children. And our children are definitely one of our most important resources. And so we do want to say thank you to you all again, to all of you that participate in that. And we appreciate all your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And here you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have several of these. Okay, we have a proclamation declaring April 12th through April 18th as Public Safety Telecommunications Week in Polk County. We want to honor the critical role of 911 dispatchers in Polk County, Texas, and nationwide. So this week highlights the dedication of emergency personnel who provide a vital link offering calm professional assistance during a crisis. So who do we have representing our telecommunications officers? So basically, good morning. Basically, our telecommunications officers are the people that are maintaining the calm with the person that's in a crisis, along with our law enforcement or emergency responders, whichever agency they're responding to. And so we appreciate all your service and the people that you represent as well. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let me see. Nope, we have crime victims record. Okay, we have another proclamation. Obviously, these are all related to one another. Declaring April 19th through April 25th as Crime Victims' Rights Week in Polk County. It's recognized nationwide and in Texas from April 19th to 25th. The 2026 theme is Listen, Act, Advocate, Protect with Victims, and Serve Communities, with a focus on community and local field-led efforts. And we have our very own Megan. Thank you, Megan. Appreciate all your service. Megan's been there for a while. Let me make sure I've got the right proclamation for you. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, then we have this one, this last one. And this is designating April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. We could probably get all the same people to come up at the same time. Come on, Megan. Whereas children are vital to our state's future success, to our prosperity and quality of life, as well as being our most vulnerable assets. Children deserve to have a safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities that they need to foster their healthy growth and development. Child abuse and neglect is a community responsibility affecting both the current and future quality of life of our community. And whereas communities that provide parents with the social support, knowledge of parenting and child development, and concrete resources they need to cope with stress and nurture their children, ensure all children grow to their full potential. And effective child abuse prevention strategies succeed because partnerships are created between citizens, human service agencies, schools, faith communities, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. So we hereby declare April as Child Abuse Prevention Month and call on everybody to support those communities and move forward in making our children safer. We do have representatives from the multiple agencies here as well, so thank you. Okay. Thank you, sir. Now, I got to the public hearing. What time is it, Madam Clerk?
10:09.
Okay, 10:09, we have a public hearing to receive public comment on the proposed industrial high-load site impact permit policy and fee schedule. Notice of this hearing was published in the Polk County Enterprise on April 2nd, 2026. A copy of the proposed regulations and fees may be viewed on the county website at www.polk.gov. www.polktext.gov under Public Notices. The Commissioners Court will consider approval of the plan during the regular session following this public hearing. And everybody has a copy of the policy and fee schedule included for your review in your packet. So what this policy does in plain terms is Polk County is considering a new rule that would require large industrial operations like data centers, AI computing facilities, cryptocurrency mining, and similar high-power industries to apply for a county permit before they build or start operating here. Oops, I'm missing a page. Let me see your page. Thank you. Why? Because these types of facilities use enormous amounts of electricity, water, and industrial cooling equipment, and sometimes they run around the clock. That kind of operation can strain county roads, stress our water and drainage system, create fire hazards, and affect neighboring properties. So this policy is the county's way of knowing what's coming before it arrives and making sure developers address any problems on the front end, not after the damage is done. So what does it require developers to do? It requires them to submit detailed plans showing how they'll manage electricity use, water, noise, traffic, drainage, and fire safety. Have those plans reviewed and stamped by a licensed Texas engineer. Pay an engineering review fee up front, and that is refunded if unused, similar to our subdivision regulations. Purchase a commercial development permit with any associated permits and inspection fees, meet all county fire codes, and get inspected before opening. What it does not do, it is not zoning. It does not tell a business where it can or can't locate. It cannot tell it what technology it can use or how to run its business. It simply says if you're going to put a major industrial facility here, then you need to show the county the plan and prove that it won't harm the community. Who's affected? Any facility that draws 1 megawatt or more of electricity, runs more than 18 hours a day, or uses large-scale cooling systems. Businesses that are already operating lawfully before this policy takes effect are grandfathered in unless they expand. And basically, this is the court being proactive about what we have seen that has happened across the state and trying to ensure that our community is not adversely affected by these types of development. Do we have anyone that wishes to speak during the public hearing?
I believe there was one in there, yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think this is public notice, though. Okay, here we go. Carolyn Bischoff.
I always get so nervous when I'm in front of you guys, so forgive me for that. I want to say good morning. I am Carolyn Bischoff. I'm a retired educator. I've lived here now almost 8 years, come May, and I came cautiously to a rural county, but I am finding how much I do enjoy it. So I'm here today to express my support and appreciation for Judge Murphy and this Commissioner's Court on the adoption of a formal resolution calling on Texas to carefully evaluate the rapid expansion of large-scale AI data centers, realizing the importance of our piney woods that include working timberlands, agricultural land, and natural areas like the Big Thicket National Preserve and Sam Raven Reservoir. This resolution shows these are not just scenic backdrops, but they are the economic and ecological foundation of this county. As this court has made it clear that there is no confirmed data center proposal currently for Polk County, this resolution is the foundation needed, in my little humble opinion. Unlike other rural counties that I feel this resolution is being, as she said, proactive for further growth in our community. The court is not saying no to growth, but instead it says growth must be responsible, which the resolution states that the community deserves transparency, independent impact analysis, and enforceable safeguards before a project breaks ground, not after. I support and appreciate this court being proactive instead of being reactive at a later time. Thank you again for your recent actions to address this issue. And I am actually very honored and grateful to live in a county that's thinking about preserving our land as well as its residents.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Jay Jackson?
I thank you for allowing me to have time in your time, please. My name is Jay Jackson. I'm here regarding the A&I that I heard some information about. And I really oppose it from my research. I look at A&I will lose people jobs. I've experienced that myself firsthand, how A&I have came into business and people have lost their jobs. I went to a Walmart at a store out of state, and they had an event called Jay. His name was Jay, about 7 feet tall. Jay ran down the aisles at the store, and I asked him, I said, what's your name? He said, oh, my name is Jay. And I asked the person that worked there, I said, well, what did Jay do? Versus having a human to go and restock the shelf, Jay zooped right in and told him what all items need to be on the store. So that was someone's job. I looked at another time when I went to a restaurant, they had someone taking someone's order versus a person. To me, it's corporate greed, and it needs to be regulated. And I also look at the water. They have an A&I plant here. Have they thought about how expensive it would be for the water? And people already pay money for the water bill and the electric bill. So I think there's a lot of things that should be, looked at before this takes a breaking ground if it hadn't already been approved. But that's my opinion. I just want to let people know just because something always sounds good doesn't mean it's good. It's not. And I look at as well. I look at the emergency response people. Where I came from, they have people and they have them answer the phone. They don't have a live person. So I don't want to call somewhere and have a non-human person addressing my needs. And that's what my concerns are. It's nice for Livingston to grow, but I look at the pros and the cons before I make that decision.
Okay, so Ms. Jackson, I'm going to take it that you are in favor of our resolution telling the Texas legislature
Yes.
that we want them to evaluate this carefully?
Yes, I do.
Very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Moore, did you want to speak at this time, or do you want to wait for a public? Yes, sir.
I think I was misled a little bit about filling out the form, so my name's Randy Moore. I appreciate Judge and the Commissioners the opportunity to speak about the policy that you are going to look at and vote on, I presume, in this meeting. I have several questions. I have 3 questions of importance to me, and I'm sure is important to the community. In full disclosure, I run a land and title business that does AI development work across the United States. We do not operate in Texas, so I have a impartial judge against the Texas policy. But there's a few questions that I think I need to understand as to why the urgency of this policy, because I believe we talked about it at the last commissioners meeting, and now we have a policy adapted. So the questions that I ask, and I don't know that you'd like to answer them independently or not, but have any of you been approached by any IHF companies that want to come into Polk County? First of all, any of the judge or court. Has Polk County approached the land use issue? I know that you specifically don't call it out in the policy, but have you approached how you're going to handle land use and development in the future?
Mr. Moore,
Yeah.
a city can determine land use or do zoning or whatever kind. Texas is a property rights state, and so we do not have the authority. If you have a large tract of land and you decide you wanted to subdivide it, or you decide you wanted to invite an AI. All we are saying with this policy, the resolution was to the state legislature, asking them to please take a look at what was happening in other areas, simply because we don't want it happening to us. And so all this does is say that we want transparency, that we want them to upfront tell us what the impact is going to be and what the needs will be. How much electricity are they going to require? How much water? What's going to happen with the water, and where's it going to come from?
That's great, because I've seen it destroy communities in California where we've done AI projects.
Absolutely.
So that's very important. But I would like that the court address whether any of you have been involved in discussions with any people that would like to come into Polk County for data centers, AIs, or any of that. So thank you very much for your time.
No, sir, I have not. I have not.
Thank you.
I have not. We're just being proactive because we see the damage that occurred in other
I
areas.
just wanted it on the record that none of you have been approached.
No.
Yes, sir.
no.
Thank you.
No, sir, not yet. Okay, now let's get to our regular agenda. Okay, is there anyone else that wishes to speak for the public hearing? Okay, what time?
I would like to.
Oh, go
say
ahead.
something. I'm not a big Facebook person or anything, but I saw where I was included in a post where they showed a part of our Commissioners Court meeting from a couple of years ago. And it was edited by somebody, I forget who it was, but it was completely out of context of what the conversation was. So I would just like to ask everybody, if you're gonna post our discussions from our Commissioners Court meetings, post them without changing them. And that would be appreciated by us, and it's only fair for the citizens of Polk County to get the true facts, not facts that are changed. That's all I've got.
And I would agree. Okay, that's where my page went. Okay, so now,
We need the time.
what time is it?
10:22.
10:26, closing.
22.
22.
Yes, ma'am.
Closing of the public hearing. Okay, now, public comments. And we have, in order of receiving them, Billy Lambeth.
Well, I want to give y'all the Lakeside Village Goose Report. I've been complaining for 15 months. The sheriff's department has finally captured 2/3 of them. But the other third is still there, still messing up the driveway and the parking area. There, out of the 46 that was there, there's 15 now. A group of 3 and a group of 12. Sometimes they together. But they are still at Lakeside Village. The sheriff's department has not removed all of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lambeth. Okay, Tony Cochran Hughes. Do we have the time on?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Tony, you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, judges and commissioners. I'm here to voice my concerns for the safety of the children and teachers and staff of Goodrich ISD. They now have been without a school resource officer since March the 4th. Officer Rosario even voluntarily worked the entire month of February for free. That's how important the safety of our children is to him, the constable, and GISD. I do not, for the life of me, understand why the agreement between Goodrich ISD and Constable Precinct 1 for a school resource officer cannot at least be placed on the agenda for a vote. Commissioner Robertson, you were elected to represent the people of Precinct 1, and that includes the children of Goodrich ISD, a school that you once led. Livingston ISD and Onalaska ISD, where some of your children and grandchildren go to school, have SROs. Don't you think the children of Goodrich and the other unincorporated school districts deserve the same? Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Berman.
Morning.
Morning.
My topic's basically on the same thing. Don't mind if I do handouts?
Absolutely. If you all will recall, we asked Kevin and Darwin if they would research some of this information. But Kevin did not have the information soon enough for today.
I'm Kevin Berman. I am the constable, Precinct 3, which Goodrich is the only school district in the county that does not have part of their district where the students are at, not in my precinct. Every other one is, whether it be the reservation, Big Sandy, the students that go to those schools do live in my precinct. The only one I'm not sure about is Alaska. I think some do, but Goodrich definitely not. So I do have a vested interest in this. I also am looking at bringing on a soon-to-be retired game warden who will currently is the director of safety and security at the school in Corrigan and is also very familiar with the school resource officer and the importance of it. There has been, in the handout that I've given you, first off, you have the mandate by the state, which is House Bill 1458, which is this handout. I'm not going to go over it completely, but basically it states that every school in the state of Texas is required to have some sort of armed security, whether it be the school safety officer from a ISD police department, whether it be a contract or MOU with a local agency, police department, constable's office, sheriff's office, with a full-time officer, or whether it be a security service, private security service, or they have two other programs, which are the Marshall program and the Guardian program. And I've also listed out the requirements for those programs, and they're also included in the packet. I'm back up, if talking with TCOL, which is the governing agency for law enforcement in the state of Texas, if an ISD is to create their own police department, there is a ton of criteria. Currently, TCOL has that situation on hold. Those applications are on hold until the month of October because many school districts, small, large, created their police department and then did not realize the commitment, the expense, the liability, everything that is involved in running a law enforcement entity. So a lot of them backed out. TCOL is now, according to them, creating a set of parameters that whenever an agency, a school district says they want to create their own law enforcement agency, TCOL says, well, these are the parameters. If you can fulfill all of these, then we will we'll look at your application. But otherwise, that's basically on hold until October.
Kevin, can I interrupt you real quick? It's okay, would it be okay, since I know you're not gonna be able to explain all of this just in 3 minutes. So would it be okay if when we get to that agenda item?
Absolutely.
We ask you to step up here?
Absolutely.
Would that be okay?
Perfect.
And so we will keep this right here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
That would be great.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, so next on the agenda is our new business consent agenda. I do need to hold one item within the consent agenda, and that's a PAF from the sheriff's office. So we had a PAF, and the sheriff did it correctly. I'm the one that did it incorrectly because it should have been an agenda item. And the PAF is for Jessica Slack. And the change provides her with more than around a 6-step increase for a total of $6,000 increase in pay. And so I just need to pull that one out. So if I could have an approval for the consent agenda, you have an addendum on number 9 of $98,047.19. Is there anything else that you all wish to pull off the consent agenda? And I need a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of. Okay, Commissioner Purvis, Commissioner Robertson, all in favor, okay. Any opposed? Very well. Okay, so on Jessica Lee, the move was from a 112.3 with a salary of $43,768 to a group step, actually it's a step down, 111, step 11, with a salary of $49,859, which is approximately $6,000 or 6 steps. So what is the court's pleasure? And you do have a letter from the sheriff with supporting information.
Sheriff's budget.
The sheriff does have the money in his budget. It's just that policy states that 2 steps and that really 3 steps is the max. So it's up to the court. He does have the money. He does have the money in his budget.
Make a motion to approve his request.
Okay, Commissioner DeVos, need a second?
But the policy is 3 steps.
Yes, sir.
I hate going against the policies myself. I'm sure not against her getting a raise. I mean, to the point of that. So am I allowed to? I just hate going against the policies. Speak up, please.
Please do.
Please.
I appreciate the opportunity. This is not just a raise, she is taking a new position. She's moving from one job to another job. And the other part of that, and let me just say this, how am I to keep good people if I can't pay the money? Now, if I ask you for new money, then I'd understand there'd be some pushback. You're the policymakers. If you say you're gonna give me the money, let me spend the money to keep the people. She's not getting a raise, she's getting a new position.
If it's a new position, I don't have a problem.
That's exactly what it is. And it should have been on the PAF stating that she's going from one job to another job.
Yeah. If it's a new job, new position, I don't have a problem with that.
Untie my hands. I'm not asking any money. Let me keep the good people that I have.
He is not asking for more money. He has
No,
money
I hate to go against policy.
Yeah, but our policy was 3 years long.
Understand there's a new position.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Purvis, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Now to new business, regular agenda. Consider approval of personnel matters as follows. You have the personnel action form request submitted by department heads since the last meeting, and review of any authorized emergency hiring. All the PAS were included for your review. Motion to approve, Commissioner DeVos, Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 20, consider request for revisions in the budget as follows. The FY 2026 budget revisions as presented by the County Auditor's Office. A copy of the proposed revisions, number 2026-16, is included for your review.
So moved.
So moved. Commissioner Cassidy, Commissioner Robertson, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 21, receive and take any necessary action regarding the FY 2027 budget adopted by the Polk Central Appraisal District on March 26, 2026. A copy of the PCAD FY 2027 adopted budget is included in your packet. The FY 2027 PCAD budget reflects an increase of $61,909, which is a 2.97% increase over last year. Our payment is budgeted to increase by $42,857, which is 1.06 increase. There's no action required by this body unless we do not agree with the budget and we want to issue a resolution disapproving the budget. What's the court's pleasure?
I'll just say over and I don't have a problem with it.
And I wouldn't mind talking to Chad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then no action. Item number 22, consider any and all necessary action to adopt the proposed regulations as follows. A, the industrial highway facility site impact permit policy, which has been reviewed and approved by legal counsel. If the court chooses to approve this policy and the associated fee schedule, we will need to set an effective date for the policy. A copy was included for your review along with the fee schedule.
So moved. Second.
Motion for both? Commissioner
Yes,
Purvis? Commissioner Purvis, Commissioner Cassidy, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Effective immediately or further down the road?
Well, I mean, I guess it's effective immediately, but it all depends on what the state does.
Well, ours can become effective immediately.
Okay.
Our resolution has gone to the state.
Okay, ready, okay. Yeah, no.
So effective immediately.
Yeah.
Very well.
Ain't nobody contacted us, so what they do, we got it in place.
23, consider approval of the county-owned shared use vehicle policy and procedures. This policy establishes the rules and responsibility for the use of county-owned shared use vehicles that are checked out through purchasing and procurement for official county business. The policy applies to all county employees authorized to operate county-owned vehicles. So a copy of the policy was included for your review. Approved, Commissioner Dubus.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 24, discuss and consider request from Sheriff Lyons to secure funding for repair, replacing purge fans in the original section of the Polk County Jail. Sheriff Lyons has requested this item be placed on the agenda. He's seeking to secure $35,135 to repair or replace the purge fans in the section of the jail where the septic system has been updated. On December 23rd, 2025, the court approved a feasibility study from DRG Architects for reopening the original Polk County Jail. We have not received any status updates. Sheriff, do you have some updates?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so what you have before you today is, so we split it into the old jail and then the old jail. And so in the old jail, which is money you guys have already spent in reference to the plumbing, tunneling underneath the building. So after review, and we have representatives from ours here, that's the only thing left that should be able to allow us to be able to get those inmates onto that side of the jail is we have to get those exhaust fans running so that if there, by the grace of God, we hope not, but if there's ever a fire, that those exhaust fans will suck out the smoke and as well as any type of air contaminants. You know, that's what we get it out. And by jail standards, we have to have that done. I met with him on yesterday with the company. He says that once we get these purge fans replaced and those items fixed, that should take care of the last component of what we're needing on that side of the old jail. So we can start moving inmates over there, because my goal, I hope, is being to move our females back out of Lufkin back and move them over on that side. That's what, on this part. On the update, I have spoken with Gary Adams. You know, guys, I'm gonna be just honest with you about it. Just talking with him, and he had engineers who were down a couple weeks ago who did a walk and crawl through. His theory, and then I'm starting to understand this, is that there's going to take a lot to get that other side done. And then the problem is all we're doing is replacing those things that we have that are broke, which is most of it's a lot of missing things that we took from that side and replaced over on the other side so we can get it up and going. The problem he is stating, and understand this, is that we take and we fix these things that have been out of use for the last 15, 20 years. And then they were old from then. Once we start putting pressure on a daily activity on this, then there could be, and most likely, a high probability failures that are going to take place behind it on those items that are right now functional, but he can't guarantee how long those things will be functional. And even talking with, I keep saying it wrong, Fiaro's, the HVA system company, is that even going up top and replacing those things over there, you know, we're talking quite a bit of money. And yeah, I mean, we could sink the money in it, but we're going to have a contingent plan that's going to say that as we do that, those failures that take place down the line, we're going to have to fix those in order for the new things to continue to operate. And the whole scheme of the thing, guys, is that 2 years from now, it won't be my problem, but it's still something that I want to make sure today is that I help the next sheriff that comes in. I want to make sure he has at least a good foundation to start working from. We're going to have to start looking at not the probability, but we're going to have to start looking at, we're going to have to add on. Even with me bringing back those females and putting them on this side, it still wouldn't allow me. I could probably get everybody out of Louisiana, but I'd have to open up another contract with Houston County. And my problem is that if I don't have the staffing, even to hold those beds, then I'm still going to have to house that probably back in Lufkin or in Houston County. But it would get me back in Texas. But it's not going to guarantee me that I'm going to be able to keep everybody in Polk County. We're going to have to start looking at the probability of building another 250 bed facility to add on to what we have. We can hold 311 if our staffing is correct, but we were already at 270 something, 280 something.
Yes, the highest we got 295.
295 already, and so when we start looking at bringing those back, we're going to be close to our capacity anyway, even if we had the staffing to keep them. But for your status report, Gary and his engineers are still working on that part because there's a lot that's going to be done. The only good thing is the jail commission has assured me that, hey, look, because we didn't decommission the facility, that side, we won't have to change doors and widen doors for things, you know, the ADA things. We won't have to get any variances. But those other things, plumbing, HVAC, fire, all those other things that are critical to us being able to run legally on the jail standards, those are things it's going to cost the county a good bit, and still not be able to give you a guarantee that it's going to continue. This is going to fix it. It's just get it up and going at an unknown dollar amount.
So, Sheriff, I have a quick question. So all the new plumbing that we did, right, where we came in and corrected all of that, is the old or the old
It's
connected to that?
Yeah, it's connected to it,
Okay.
but it's on a separate run. And even with that plumbing that we did, that tunneling, it was strictly for septic. It was just for underground septic. Then we took all of the plumbing, such as commode parts, faucets, faucet parts. We took those things and moved over there so we could just get those things running, because you might as well say the way it was put to me is that we have to go find antiques to be able to replace those parts because they're so obsolete over on that other side. I mean, it's not a, you know, it's going to be a task, I mean, for us to get it up and going. But that's just to give you an update. Once he finishes, then you'll have a truer number, a close number on what it's going to cost. But even like talking with the HVAC experts is that, hey, look, I'm going to give you a price, $132,000. That's just for the old side. That's going in and replacing pretty much everything that's up there. The only drawback is that those things down below it, failure is going to take place when we start running this operation 24/7. That hadn't ran in over 20 years.
feasibility study, when they do it, are they gonna be able to lay out a whole plan for us for connecting? I mean, that was my understanding.
He's gonna
Was that
lay-
they would provide us something in writing and kind of show us a diagram,
On what it's
right?
gonna take.
So that we would know where we need to commit monies or how we need to move forward.
Yeah, if you want to commit monies, he's gonna have certainly a layout on what it's gonna cost to be able to bring X amount of beds, X amount of space.
I mean, the way I understood it, he'll give us
Yeah.
That's the way I understood.
pretty much a good, not a quote, but an estimate.
Yeah.
A rough
Yeah,
estimate.
a rough estimate.
What it's gonna cost us and to get that thing back going. And-
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm saying.
we'll just have to weigh it. I'm like, Byron, we have to weigh it at that time to see if we want to spend that money on that jail and compare it to how much we're actually spending out of county or out of state on housing. Jailers, we just, we're gonna have to weigh all those numbers and
Absolutely.
get Byron to help us figure it out.
So as much as possible, we want to get as many, all the people back as much as possible. But I think part of the long-term plan needs to be that if we're looking at adding to the jail, okay, if we're talking about adding, then you're talking about $265,000 to $280,000 per bed, right?
I don't think, that original number, I
That was
don't
the
think that's
last
gonna
numbers
be.
that the jail commission provided.
Yeah, and, so we've actually, Grady, been talking with a company out of Dallas. And, so again, everything is preliminary. I don't think it's gonna cost us as much, because one of the things the jail commission and even Gary, was putting in or didn't take into consideration is that if we build in close proximity to the existing facility, we won't have to do a booking, we won't have to do a kitchen, we won't have to do laundry or infirmary, because we're in close enough proximity that we can use all of that. If we build off-site,
And it will be.
then we're looking at that kind of cost, because then all those other things have to be factored in.
Okay, because if we're looking at even doing what you're talking about, even doing a not full jail with laundry, with infirmary, with all that, then we're looking at bonds.
No
We're
doubt.
looking at going to the voters, and so we need to have a clearly laid out
And
everything.
our prayer is that we don't have to do that. And that's why it's taking some time on outlining exactly what this other side is gonna cost, and then staying even in close proximity to where we are, to where we're able to eliminate some of these other costs, so that the taxpayers don't have to.
Yeah, we still got to figure out how, even when we don't know, we still got to figure out how we're gonna staff it. We got lots of stuff to figure out with this jail.
So, all those things are going to play. But for the agenda, I need the $35,000 for Kiara so that we can get some.
I'll make that motion, Byron.
I'll second it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Byron.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 25, discuss and consider any and all necessary action to rebid asphalt product AEP due vendor price increase exceeding 25% associated with increased crude oil pricing. The Purchasing Procurement Department is recommending that asphalt product AE-P be rebid due to a significant price increase from the currently awarded vendor. Due to rising crude oil prices associated with the Iranian crisis, the cost of the product has increased by more than 25%. This product was previously awarded at $123.9 per gallon, but the proposed new price would increase to $157.5 per gallon, representing a 27% increase. Because the increase exceeds the allowable pricing adjustments, the Purchasing Procurement Department recommends rebidding the product to ensure compliance with procurement policies and to obtain the most competitive pricing available. Copy of all supporting documentation was included for your review. So here we go again.
So this is gonna be Valero and Cleveland asphalt?
We'll have to go, they'll have to do the same, go through the same
People already
process.
bid.
Yes,
Move forward,
send
yeah.
out another bid, another RFP, and make a request for bids.
You're on
Do you want to comment on that, Nicole?
I can. We only had one awarded vendor for this particular product. All of their products went up. This is the only one that went up above the 25%. So that's it.
So really, we have to.
Yeah. If we're going to continue using this particular product, because I'm not a road person, so I don't know,
Yeah.
but if we're using this product, we're going to have to go back for bids.
Okay.
Brianna, was there a contract?
What's that?
Or either they don't sell to us.
Yes, yes. So, okay, so we're gonna have to go back for an RFP. So basically, we're saying, do you want to rebid the entire? Or do you just want to rebid the portion that has gone up? That is the question. No, sir. So what's the best option for the court at this time?
If we want to look,
Come on up.
just trying to go sit back down. If we want to look and see if there are better pricing on the other products that same vendor was providing, we can do that. And they have the opportunity to rebid at that higher price that they've presented to us as well. And we might get other bidders in, we might not. It's up to what you guys want to look at.
If we might get some other vendors in,
That's up to you all.
I'm always open to
Rebid
rebid.
the
Yeah.
Maybe the whole
Okay.
thing?
Okay.
Yeah,
Will do.
Okay, comes from Commissioner Cassidy. Is a motion to rebid the entire thing?
I'll second.
Second, Commissioner Robertson. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 26, consider approval of request to exempt Pridgeon RV Park Precinct 2 from the Polk County RV Parks regulations. The owner of the RV park has requested approval to upgrade the existing septic system from a conventional system, which was installed prior to the current ownership of the property, to an aerobic septic system. The proposed upgrade is intended to meet current standards and improve system efficiency and provide improved sanitary conditions. This request does not involve a new development or an expansion of the existing RV park, and a copy of the request and a copy of the certificate are included for your review. Commissioner Dubus?
Make the motion to approve the exemption for the new center.
Second.
Very well. Commissioner Dubus, Commissioner Purvis, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 27, consider approval to modify the General Land Office Contract 24-065-045-E537 to reallocate available funds. Commissioner Purvis's project and the E537 grant in LK Union Springs are complete. There's a balance of $86,364. The only other project in this grant is for Damascus Striker Water. So there's a pending change order that will allow them to do all the original work proposed, as well as address some unforeseen issues that were identified during construction. Since those funds were allocated to Commissioner Purvis's precinct, then the only other option would be to de-obligate the funds and return the money to the state. And we have a proposal from our grants and contracts provider that we go ahead and move forward with that. Commissioner Purvis?
Yeah, I would say we just go ahead and transfer it over to the Damascus Striker Water System. Let them complete their projects.
Very well. Comes as a motion from Commissioner Purvis. Second, Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 28, discuss consideration and possible action regarding approval of a proposed settlement with 6 remnant defendants and authorization for the county judge or other duly authorized officials to execute the combined subdivision participation and release form on behalf of the county in connection with the multi-district litigation and regarding national prescription opiate litigation, MDL number 2804. On December 12th of 2017, The court approved to retain Haley and Olson, PC, to investigate and pursue claims for reimbursement of costs and expenses from the wrongful opioid distribution by pharmaceutical companies and distributors. Herb Bristow has been working on our behalf on settlements against various pharmaceutical companies, all under the umbrella of Polk versus Purdue Pharma. Several pharmaceutical companies that are part of the suit have agreed to a statewide settlement, and Mr. Bristow is requesting that the court support the adoption and approval of the various settlement judgment agreements included in this order. So the order and the supporting documentations are included for your review, and the deadline for submitting our documentation to Herb Bristow to participate in the suit is May 4th. How would you like to move forward? This is the same, basically it's an extension of the same lawsuit that we already received monies for, that provides support for drug users, actually, and support for the hospital as well. And so this is just another step in additional pharmacies that have now basically agreed that they were responsible for that.
I said, we'll go forward with it. I mean, they go to a settlement, get it, and do away with it.
Helps-
Move forward with it.
Helps our people. Okay, Commissioner Purvis, second Commissioner Cassidy, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 29, explore options for provision of school safety services. Precinct Constable Hughes has requested that the proposed interlocal cooperation agreement between his office and Goodrich ISD be placed back on the agenda. However, as previously discussed, an interlocal agreement of this nature must be between the school district and the county, obligating the county to provide a salaried deputy constable, a position that does not currently exist, to serve at the school for 1,520 hours per year. So we sent it all. So the goal in this discussion is not to end that relationship, but to formalize it in a way that is legal, fiscally responsible, and equitable to all county taxpayers. So Eric McGee, the county's legal counsel, said that the proposed draft agreement appears to be a combination of Chapter 791 of the Government Code and Chapter 37 of the Education Code. The Texas Education Code 37.081 allows for the school district to enter into a memorandum of understanding with a local law enforcement agency, a county, or municipality. Local law enforcement agency is not defined by the Education Code. Chapter 791 agreements can only be executed between government bodies, and the constable office is not a separate governmental body. He still expresses concerns with liability issues related to incidents at the school and county exposure, insurance coverage for liability, and then financial concerns. So basically, he has advised that the document would require a full redraft before it could be considered for approval. So what this office did upon the request is that we went through and used the same numbers that we use for the property management. Okay, we have property in Baylor and Throckmorton, and those monies are distributed based on population in that school. And this was the point that Kevin brought up at the end of the discussion last time, the cost. So a full-time deputy currently costs Polk County at least $78,607 annually. So Goodrich ISD's contribution of $50,000 means that the county would subsidize the remaining $28,607 for services provided exclusively to one school district. So what we did is we took the subsidy that they requested and we split it up, as a cost per student so that every school district would be able to benefit should we move forward with that. So what that means is that Goodrich ISD would receive the $28,607 as a county subsidy. Big Sandy ISD would need to receive $54,565 as a subsidy. Leggett, the smallest one, would receive $22,780 as a subsidy. Corrigan Camden ISD, with 820 students, would receive $86,881. Onalaska ISD, with 1,220, would receive $129,261. And Livingston ISD, the largest one with 4,025 students, would receive a subsidy of $426,456. So the total at this point, not counting any increases, not counting any raises in the next budget year, would come to a total of $748,550 that we would be contributing to the schools for how they chose to proceed with an SRO. Current budget numbers, it would come in probably over $1 million, and it would have annual increases. You have to keep in mind that this is personnel, and so that means that every time we increased for our personnel, then we would have to increase for that personnel as well. So Eric McGee is working to determine whether a more limited agreement that would be structured between the appropriate parties and equitable to all Polk County taxpayers and all Polk County students can still accomplish the shared goal of maintaining a law enforcement presence at Goodrich ISD campuses through the constable's office. And he's trying to figure out how that would happen. Kevin?
Ma'am?
Do you want to resume?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a question real fast?
Absolutely.
Because for some clarification for us on the back row, with the numbers that you just put out, that would basically be the contribution the county would do to each school district if the county did it fairly.
Correct.
To compensate for the amount that we're obligating or committing to go with Goodrich. The other school districts aren't asking for that now, but if you committed to do that with Goodrich, the other school districts would say, well, where's our money at? You gave this money to Goodrich, so we should get money too. Is that what?
And the taxpayers in Corrigan or in other areas would say, whoa, why are my taxpayer dollars being utilized to subsidize only one group of kids? Why aren't they subsidizing mine? It's a fair question.
It is absolutely a fair question, and I understand that, and I appreciate that. It's something that I know I haven't considered, and neither have some others. Back with my presentation, it was real simple and vague. I started out with the House bill mandate, which says every school is responsible for that. The school is responsible for it. The county is not responsible for it. We are just the entity to help because we have existing agencies in our midst. And that's what we want to do. We want to help because we want to provide this security for our children. There's no question doubt that's what everybody is here for, and that's our main goal. It's just how to do it correct way, the business way.
Correct.
There are multiple avenues that the state mandate to provide the armed officer, and that's what it is. It's an armed person at the school. Whether it is a law enforcement peace officer, whether it's a private security entity, whether it is the newly established Marshall program, or if it is a Guardian program. To break those down a little bit, schools are allowed to start their own ISD, police department. And that is difficult right now, like I was talking about earlier. because a lot of them don't realize the commitment, the expense, and what it takes to actually establish that and follow through with it. A lot of them did it quickly and hastily to meet the requirements by the state, and then they came in and realized what they had, the hornet's nest they had in their hands, and backed out of it. And TCOL's trying to prevent that. So they're putting it on hold, like I said, until October. And hopefully, well, TCOL's never on time, but hopefully by October, they'll have the list of parameters and they can present that to the ISDs who are trying to start their own agency and say, if you can commit to this, then we'll absolutely take your application and look at it and see about issuing you an agency. One of the things that there was some confusion, I know I was confused about it. TCOL changed it so that a reserve officer can work at a school. But that reserve officer is not a reserve officer out of my office. It can only be, and it's specified in statute that it can only be a reserve officer from an ISD PD. You have to report to the ISD police chief. If you don't have a police chief at the ISD, then it can't happen. We're not looking at officers. You have to be, back up, a reserve officer can spend time at the school all day, every day, but he's going to do it for free. Because under statute, you have to be a full-time peace officer. And a full-time peace officer, defined by TCOL, is the officer has to work at least 32 hours a week. Must be compensated with wage, comparable wage, and entitled to all employee benefits offered by the appointing agency. So what you got to do one way or another, whether it's constable's office, my office, the sheriff's office, the Livingston Police Department, or an ISD PD, you have to have those mandates. Otherwise, you're not a full-time officer. And by statute, you can't work it. Now, going into an ISD PD, one of the things in the expenses, and I just want to bring this up, these are some of the things that it takes to run an agency. Number one, officer salary. You know, we are looking at what some things that are occurring here in the county. There's a possibility that Livingston ISD is going to start their own police department. Their starting salary will probably be comparable to Livingston PD's starting salary, which is right about $65,000 a year. Currently, if we go with are allowed to have a full-time officer and we start him out at what the deputy pay is, whether it be 49 or 52, I'm not familiar with, it's one of the two, you're looking at a minimum $16,000 a year increase to go up the street and work for a larger school. And we'll be in the same situation that the sheriff is currently in, where you're a training ground. And we'll be training an officer, and as soon as he gets some experience under his belt, probably training a new officer straight out of the academy. And when he gets service under his belt, he's going to leave for a higher paying job, and you can't blame him. Can't blame him at all. Salary is always another thing there. The other thing with the salary is, if you start him out even at deputy pay, he's still making more than his boss, the constable, because our salary is $46,000 a year.
Correct.
So that's an issue. Another thing on the expense, you're looking at stipend pay. There's multiple stipends that law enforcement entities and agencies provide their officers, whether it be bilingual, whether it be your certification, master peace officer, basic peace officer, intermediate peace officer, whether it be a degree program. There's many stipends there. Social Security benefits, health insurance, officer retirement, workman's comp are all expenses that are incurred when bringing on a new officer. Then the big expense is the equipment. And these are some items here. Number one, you're looking at a police vehicle. You can't just go get the cheapest vehicle out there, because at any given time, that officer, whether he is assigned to the school or assigned to one of our agencies, could be required to put himself in a life and death situation and to go assist another officer or doing his duties, and it needs to be a vehicle that is comparable and is set up to do that properly. Your typical vehicle right now is pushing $78,000, possibly more. With all the outfitting, the decals, all that nature. When you're also looking at a vehicle, you have that maintenance and upkeep. Then you're looking at duty weapons, ammo, ballistic vest, shield, battering ram. Those are both newly mandated by TCO that to have it at each school. You have breaching tools. That's to break in a door. You got somebody who wants to put a chain on a door to keep, bad guy puts a chain on a door, you got to be able to have access to get in there. These are, there's a long list here. Less than lethal weapons, which are tasers, OC pepper spray, uniforms, duty belt, flashlight, handcuffs, badges, credentials, computers, computer software. We all know computer software is super expensive, and you got to have it. Otherwise, you can't run your body cameras. You can't run your in-car cameras because you can't download it and you can't store it. So you have to have access to the software. Communication devices, radios. Radios are very expensive. County's already gone through that, but you have to have it. You're also looking at other communication with cell phones. You have to have a cell phone. And the officer can't use his personal phone because if he does and he goes in and he takes pictures of a crime or situation there at school, those are subpoenaed. He's going to lose access to his cell phone. So you utilize a county phone that is expendable, basically. You're also looking at first aid kits, training, and travel expenses for training. I would probably venture to say that a law enforcement officer has to go through more training in his career than most any other profession. And there's a lot of travel, there's a lot of expenses. In a 40-hour course, you're going to spend 5 days a week there in a hotel, per diem. That's a lot of expense. That's for just an ISD starting up their own agency. The next way, an easiest way, or not easiest way, but next way to do it is an MOU or contract agreement with that school. The school and the agency can set that up, develop a contract so that it is pleasable and happy with both entities. You have to either, and in that, you have to decide who's going to take on those expenses. Whether the school district is going to pay for everything, which the officer is for them, school district's going to incur all those expenses, or if the county is going to put it on part, and then the school district's going to put it on part. That's something that has to be looked at.
Yeah, but we need to make sure it's clear though, because even by whenever I spoke with Tico as well, it also, that people need to be aware that it basically stands clear that it's only with the ISD police, because you can't be a reserve or part-time, even with the interlocal agreement.
Correct.
It has to be full-time.
You have to be a full-time
You have to
officer,
be a
correct?
full-time.
Yes, sir, and that's legislative mandate. TCO doesn't have anything to do with it. We don't have anything to do with it. That's the state of Texas. And until they change that, which they're forever changing something with law enforcement, and this due mainly because of the Uvalde incident, and the requirements are always forthcoming.
And we've had that discussion with our legislature, we've asked our legislators to please provide some flexibility for not just schools, but other areas where they need law enforcement availability or presence, right?
Absolutely.
As of yet, they haven't changed it, and so right now, we're caught in that in-between in terms of Goodrich ISD.
That is one of them, yes, ma'am. And the other two ways to get, or the other three ways to get the armed guard, one is the school district can employ a private security business. They can provide private security. They have to meet the state mandates, go with there. The next way that it'll be done is the Marshall program. The Marshall program is actually what Game Warden Sean Smith is going to be doing. He is currently the Director of Safety and Security there at Corrigan ISD, which is not a law enforcement position. It can be held by a civilian, non-law enforcement commission. So, but he cannot, if he comes to works for myself as a reserve, he cannot do any law enforcement duties on the campus. So in order for him to legally open carry his firearm on campus, he will go through the 80-hour marshal course and be classified as a school marshal. Problem there is you can't travel with the teams. When the schools are, in my understanding, I could be wrong, but my understanding is that the school marshal is only there on campus.
I can clarify that. That is one of the things with the Federal Labor Standards Act. He can, but they have to be considered two different jobs. Okay, so he can be a marshal and be on campus, but then the contract for him to travel with a team is separate. See, so they can't say, okay, this is your marshal duties, and. See, they have to say, this is your marshal duties, and this is what we're going to pay you. But then separately, they have to pay for travel. The same thing happened with school teachers. When initially this was your salary, but then they said, and you need to work the basketball games and the football games and be a cheerleader sponsor and be a school sponsor. You see what I'm saying? They added. And then FLSA came back and said, no, these are their work hours, and this is separate, and this is separate over here. So then they had to start paying stipends to teachers. It's the same concept, and that was discussed with Ray Myers.
And with the Marshall program, that subject is an employee of the school district. He is not an employee of the county.
Correct.
I can have my reserve deputy can hold his reserve commission and then also be involved, an employee of the school district and fall under the Marshall program.
Correct.
And be a school district employee. They do the 1099, they take care of all expenses. The third way to get, or the fifth and final way to get an armed guard on campus is the Guardian program, which some of our campuses do, possibly, I believe Goodrich is, and I believe that's what Big Sandy is doing. And the requirements for that is you're an employee of the school district, you're a licensed to carry holder, you specialize safety training that you're required to attend, and you got to be approved by the school leadership. Those are our options as far as getting an officer in the school. And the situation that we're currently looking at, the contract, in my eyes, the contract needs to be specific and determine happy on both parties on who's paying for what and what who's incurring the expense. Whether they're all Polk County taxpayers, but are their taxpayers paying the ISD taxes for Goodrich, or the taxpayers paying ISD taxes from Big Sandy, Livingston, on Alaska? That's a determination that needs to be made above my pay grade.
It's above ours too, because we're not school board or superintendents.
In closing, it's real simple. I think everyone here has the same goal and same desire. Evil is out there, and it's our job to stop it. The money has to be figured out, who it makes happy. The result is the same. Our kids are taken care of.
That's right. And we agree.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay. Okay, Commissioner Robertson, this was basically your agenda item. How would you like to proceed?
Well, I met this morning with the superintendent of Goodrich, and that, of course, that wasn't the end. We're gonna complete, we're gonna meet again, and I'd like to maybe, and we think I mentioned it in here, maybe do a committee.
Okay.
So I can give us some people
Okay, so you're gonna form a committee?
yes,
Okay.
and then we'll go forward. Children's safety, that is absolutely number one.
Okay.
And not
so-
just in Goodrich, but this particular one that is Goodrich.
Okay, so Leggett, as I understand it, Leggett ISD did get the grant and does have a police
Yes,
department, correct?
that's correct.
Corrigan ISD does the Marshall program, correct? Big Sandy and Goodrich currently do the Guardian program. Livingston ISD, what have they been doing if they're now working? Oh, they've been contracting with the City of Livingston Police Department. And I think the City of Corrigan PD kind of has a backup for the marshals.
Yes, they have to Kevin didn't correct me, but I think if there's a law broken.
Then they call them
The city of Carden.
Police department.
Yeah, they would arrest whoever or whatever, because the marshals are just there to protect.
So that takes
They
care of the
don't
gap.
enforce, the law. They're there to protect. From the way I understand it. I can be corrected from somebody in the back if I want to.
No, I think that's correct. That's correct. Okay, so on Alaska has their police department.
They also have some guardians there too.
They also have the guardian.
So does Livingston. They have guardians.
Is that what they have?
But they
Guardian?
do contract with the
Okay. Okay, so you're going to come back to the court?
Yes. I said I had a meeting this morning with the superintendent at Goodrich.
Okay, so on this item, you want to make a motion to delete until further notice?
Can we just make a motion to have it back on the agenda for the next?
A motion to delete says you're going to bring it back to the
Okay.
agenda when you're ready. A motion to table means we're going to put it on there very next time.
Let's do it table. Can we
Okay,
table?
yeah, for 2 weeks, okay. So motion to table, Commissioner Robertson. Any second? Second, Commissioner Purvis. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have some preliminary budget discussion. And this is just providing you, like we always do, basically tell you initially what all the requests are, how, how to move forward. Basically, what we have done is we take all the requests that have come in and we provide them to you, and you should have some flyers that were put on the top. Did everybody receive one of these, Carrie?
Yeah, they're in the back.
Oh, okay, the very back. Okay, if you'll take a look at it, you're gonna see the first one that says, have the arrow with a current. This one right here. It tells you what the requests are. So the FY 2024 budget was 28 million, 2025, 30 million, and the requests so far this year are right at 38 million. Of that, the requests for justice and public safety are approximately 63%. The general and administrative are approximately right at 35%. And then health, human, and other services are right at 2%. So then you have the breakdown of the budget. Of course, when you look at the FY 2026 actuals, you have to keep in mind that we're not all the way through with 2026. So at the bottom of that, you have the adopted budget and then the requested budget. So the requested budget is just right under 38 million. So that's going to require some discussion. If you flip the page to your next one, that shows a circle. Again, you see the 38 million. It shows you the breakdown. And then the FY 2026 adopted budget showed approximately 20.5 million that are in salary and benefits. And then the FY 2027 request is over $25 million worth of salary and benefits that are being requested. So that's your general fund. Now, this is general fund only. This does not include road and bridge. Okay, we don't have yours because you determine that in your own general fund. Okay, so the total expenditures from the FY 2026 budget was 32 million, and the total in the request is right under $38 million. Okay. The next one, your next page, is basically what we did because we've had, when I came in 2015, we immediately knew that we needed to raise all salaries, that we were not competitive across the board. So we did a couple of things. One, we started moving the salary schedule up. But the other thing too that we did was we implemented discretionary funds. They were called merit increases at that time, but we implemented additional discretionary funds to give elected officials some flexibility. So if you look at the top of this, and this will be in your book, your budget book, when we start looking at it. So if you look at the positions, a kitchen helper in 2015 was making approximately $9.50 an hour, and now they're making $15.16, which is an increase of 58%. And what we did was we took the lowest paid employee from 2015 in that department and compared it to the lowest paid employee in that department now. So if you go through and you look at the positions, you have kitchen helper compared step 1 to step 1. So we still have people on step 1. Custodial maintenance worker, step 1 to 2. Aging, 1 to 1. The deputy clerks, 1 to 1. The court clerks, 1 to 2. Road and bridge maintenance workers, the lowest paid in 2015 was on step 5, and the lowest paid one in 2026 is on step 5. Your maintenance technicians, step 1 to step 3. Office managers, step 1 to step 2. Corrections officers, step 1 to step 3. Your senior bailiff, step 1 to step 6. Patrol deputy, which are the trainees, step 1 to step 1 because they're trainees. Patrol deputy, step 1 to step 2. Those are the new deputies. Your corporal, step 1 to 3. Detective, 1 to 4. Sergeant, 1 to 3. Lieutenant, 1 to 7. Captain, 2 to 3. Chief deputy, 2 to 6. The judge's assistant, now keep in mind that the judge's assistant at that time was Marcia Cook. And Marcia Cook had 28 or 30 years of experience and was on step 4. Okay, so step 4 to step 9. Judge's office manager, what we have done there is we took and incorporated that position with the chief deputy clerk. So she's basically doing 2 jobs now. She's the office manager and she's the chief deputy clerk. And so when she was office manager, we had her at step 5. We moved her up 1 step because to stay in sync there. And so it provides a comparison so you can see that discretionary funds are actually being utilized and they're being utilized appropriately. So what this chart highlights is that the problem that existed in 2015, which was that employees who had worked for the county for decades were still sitting at the bottom of the pay scale. And long tenured staff were stuck at steps 1 through 5 with little movements, regardless of the years of service. So those same positions show a step progression. The idea of the discretionary funds was to create a difference between somebody that was new to the position and somebody that was experienced, right? So you could create a gap. So at this time, there's only one person that was a patrol deputy in 2015 that is still a patrol deputy today. And they have gone from step 1 to step 10 over the 10 years, which is a 76.2% increase in pay. So you see the corresponding increase in pay, the percentage increase in pay. So the pay, we're still working on moving forward with increasing pay. So that's for your information, and it will be included in your budget. Okay, so some of the requests that we have received is that $12,000 increase across the board at the sheriff's office, and that's for all employees, regardless. Now, there are some things that the sheriff has proposed as well, that we do like a 3-year plan, which in business, when you know what your income is going to be, then that makes sense. But we don't know. We have no guarantee on what our income will be in 3 or 4 years. Now, I could lie and say, sure, we'll do that. But then somewhere down the road, we might have to change our minds. And so I'm saying that because Chad Hill also, and we all know Chad Hill does a great job, and he's very, very conservative. And so Chad Hill, just like the rest of us have noticed, that there's not as much development, there's not as much growth, so we're not gonna get as much income. Because that is really where the majority of our income comes from, is the new development. So this year's estimate has been reduced for our net primary value. I don't think we gave them this, because these are not solid numbers yet, but basically the value has gone down by approximately $14 million. So if it's going down, if it's trending down and leveling out, then you don't want to overextend yourself. So that's basically a summary for now. So some of the things that the court needs to think about is if the bottom line is all that matters, okay? If the bottom line is all that matters, we have worked on longevity. We got our longevity increased, which benefits those people that stay here for a period of time. If the court wants to consider not offering longevity to new hires, that's a possibility. Insurance, every year we have our employees vote in terms of which insurance policy would best benefit them. If we need to decrease our level of coverage for insurance, then that's one way to do it as well. Our retirement, we match 250%. So if we need to reduce our retirement, instead of it being 2.5 to 2.0, then that's what Livingston PD has, and you take that money and you put it on the bottom line, right? If that's what truly matters. The other thing we can do is we can reduce discretionary funds. We, instead of providing, in response to Mr. Purvis's issue about that video being clipped and put together in the wrong sequence and with the wrong subject matter, that was a discussion where we discussed discretionary funds. And at that point in time, I said I was comfortable with doing 3% discretionary funds. If COLA is 2.5%, well then giving elected officials 3% allows them to give everybody a one-step increase if they want to. If they have an outstanding employee that does their job and does their job well, then they can give that person 2 steps or 3 steps and still fall within the parameters and the discretionary funds, right? Now that does mean that if they have someone that does not perform well, then that gives them the flexibility of not providing an increase to that individual. So those are the 3 things that the court needs to think about. If the bottom line is all that matters, then we have to have look seriously at what we want to reduce. Now I will say this, we have got to make up our minds as a county. If we keep adding positions, you have only X amount of dollars. Every time that we add a position, then we are reducing the dollars available for raises, because that's the same source of funds. So we have to decide if we're going to collect people or if we're going to collect raises. So the court needs to think about that. At this time, our total request for positions, we have 7 new positions being requested at the jail and sheriff's office, and we have 6 being requested at all other offices put together. So that's food for thought. So I do have something that I would like to say with regards to the budget and with regards to the attacks, specifically on Kerry. So let me tell y'all what Kerry does. this office, I myself sat down with Carrie and asked her, so I'm the one that put her in the line of fire. I asked her to be the appointed liaison that would communicate all day, every day, as necessary, with the jail, with the sheriff's office, with the district attorney's office, with anybody that had an issue or a problem. Not just during budget, but every single day. So every single day, she fields those questions. She was assigned by me, so I will accept the blame. IT, we have talked long-range planning. IT has a designated person for each building. Why? Because IT has to answer to every single elected official in every single department, and that makes sense. Makes perfect business sense. Maintenance, it's Grady here? I don't see Grady. Maintenance has done a good job. Maintenance has assigned people to be at certain locations at certain times. Why? Because we have to consolidate our services. So what Carrie did, Carrie is the one that organized all the SB 22 monies in conjunction with the sheriff's office. Carrie kept it all straight for the sheriff's office and the jail. The original thing that we had worked out, the comptroller did not approve of. So Carrie's the one that dealt with the comptroller, went back and forth, communicated with the sheriff's office and the jail, and solved the issue. So the SB 22 monies was $500,000, and then the taxpayers chipped some money. So the taxpayers chipped in some money so the sheriff and the jail could be taken care of with the SB 22 money. We're already transferring that to the taxpayers. We're already transferring that obligation to the taxpayers. We all know that anytime you get a payroll grant from the state or the federal government, it's not going to stay there. It is not. All of us know that. So we know that that obligation is going to end up on the taxpayers. We know that. And so Carrie is the one that has come up with what the transition is going to look like. The sheriff can back me up on this. We have also taken the vehicles in. I did not like the fact myself, and so Carrie is the one that did the research, and we came up with a plan to bring vehicles in-house. Because every year, the sheriff's office had to come, ask for monies, justify the need for new vehicles, for new equipment, for new radios, and it all had to go on debt. So sometimes we had vehicles that we still were paying on, but the vehicle no longer existed. It had been totaled. Why? Because it was on a 7-year tax note and had died at age 2. Carrie's the one that manages that as well. So attacking Carrie on social media is completely inappropriate, totally unprofessional. And I myself, given her commitment to this county, absolutely do not appreciate it. And I'm going to say the same thing about any employee for Polk County that gets attacked that way. If any of our law enforcement officers get attacked that way, if any of our IT people get attacked that way, I think as a county, we have an obligation to step forward and protect our own in an appropriate manner with truth. Chief Lowry, I do appreciate you stepping forward. So, that's all I have to say.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Yes, ma'am.
We have to do our drawings for the
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. Okay. Here is for all those people that walked. Walked. So I'm gonna tell you all the top 5. Tara Reynolds in permits. I think that's cheating, because that's part of her job, walking around. Marisol Reyes in maintenance. Kathy Watson at the tax office. That one is to be commended. Jessica Hutchins in grants and contracts, and Kathleen Winter in human resources. So we're gonna pick someone here. Pick a name. Thank you. And the winner of the STEP Challenge, there were 50 participants, and the winner is Angela Rice in juvenile probation.
Oh, we need 3 more.
Oh, 3 more. Marisol Reyes in maintenance. You want to draw one for this?
You're doing good.
Serious? Oops, I pulled out 2. One more?
2 total.
Mandy Anderson at the tax office. One more? The other one I pulled up at the same time? Wow, Denise David at the tax office. Okay. Thank you very much. Now motion to adjourn. What time is it now?
11:40.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.